This is OnyxRose 9 of OnyxRose9.substack.com and OnyxRose, A Journey Through FFS. So I made it out on the other side. Yay! 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 As you can see, I still got my nose splint on. I'm heavily oiled and lubed up. I have stitches underneath the nose, sutures around here. I have sutures around here and behind my ear. I have massive amounts of caked blood in my locks and staples, which are holding my face together. Um, I am allowed to be out. Hey, Julie. I am allowed to be out of my head wrap during the day, but at night we have to put it back on. It holds my chin and my top of the head in place, and then it wraps around my forehead, and that holds the head in place. I can't open my mouth very wide because of the sutures. Um, I can't open my jaw I can't use my jaw because it's got a titanium plate there. Um, Egg seems to think that's the only place that there's a titanium plate. I think there's also one somewhere up in here. We'll have to ask my surgeon next time we go see him, which will be tomorrow at some point, whenever we can get in. He just said to call him tomorrow and he'll work us in. So I'm like, that's cool. I was just happy to get over it. The surgery was actually 9.5 hours long, so just under 10 hours. Um, it was 12 hours? I'm sorry. It was not 9.5 hours. Egg is screaming to me from the other room. I am in the back room, which we no longer call the master bedroom. And if you don't know the reason why, you can just look that up and then you'll understand. And I hope then you won't call it the master bedroom anymore either. So 12.5 hours is how long the surgery was. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. I was, knocked out, of course, so I had no reference of time. As you can see, I can't really make any major facial movements. I am still pretty lubed up and pretty tightened everywhere. My face, when I move my head down or up side to side, does not give very much. Um, Hey, gay boy. I'm hoping that when they remove the sutures and staples, that will be better. But I am able to move around now. Me and Egg and our little pug Nix went for a short walk. It was great to get some fresh air. Um, Bestie Mish Mish brought over some beautiful flowers. Egg brought over some beautiful tulips, which haven't been sprouting yet, but they're getting ready to. Hi, neurodivergent hodgepodge. Um, yeah, our flower, Eggs in my flower, is the tulip. So we each have tulip tattoos. She's got one on her foot. I've got one on the inside of my arm. Um, and so we get tulips for each other. So yeah, everything has gone about as well as can be expected. My surgeon did a really good job, I think. I have a feeling once everything settles, that's going to look really, really, really good. And I am so happy for that. I have a very good feeling about this. If there was any negative thoughts going in, those are gone. Those are gone, gone, gone. Now there may be some, hey cat, thanks for coming in. There may be some, you know, thank you, neurodivergent. Yeah, I am so happy. I mean, I'm really happy now. The first 48 hours, I'm not gonna lie, were absolute hell. Um, I couldn't see. Leaving the hospital, I couldn't see at all. At all. I was just blind. So I feel a lot better, Kat. A lot better than I did yesterday. Last night was probably the hardest night for me so far. I was just a mess. It was pain, a lot of pain, and the pain medication was not helping. I've been having some really lurid dreams, and they're dreams that I've had they're recurring dreams that I've had for years. And when I say years, I mean 15, 20 years. Um, So I'm not really sure what those dreams mean. I've spoken with them. I've spoken with a therapist before about them, and we could never get to the end or back of them. Um, yeah, my smile is gonna be beautiful, I think. My nose will be beautiful. There will probably not be a noticeable scar underneath my nose. Um, the forehead work, as you can tell, is he's done really well with the lowering of the forehead, of the hairline and, the hair and, like, all around here. Now, of course, I'll have to wait for all of the swelling to come down. I'm definitely swollen all over the place. Um, and that's going to take some time, and that's okay. I understand that. Um, I don't necessarily need to slather on a bunch of makeup, for people to like when I go out. I don't really care too much about that. I may, you know, I will definitely have to use SPF to at least SPF 30, but I've got something called Black Girl Suntan lotion, and that's SPF 50, and it's going to be good. Yeah. It'll look really good. Um, but we've got the humidifier going, so it's helping me breathe. I've got some things up my nose right now, up my nostrils, to keep them open. Um, so it's hard to breathe out of my nose. I do breathe out of my mouth a lot. I try to breathe out of my nose, but a lot of times it's just impossible. Um, it's kind of funny. I tried to open my banking app today. Not happening. Not happening. It was a good thing I wrote down all of my passwords and everything like that for Egg. If she needs to get in and do any kind of work in my banking apps, um, because outside of that, we would have had to do them all over again, and it's a pain in the ass. So now that we have them all set, we pretty much know which goes to which one, and my she's taking care of my banking stuff. Kat, my pain right now, so the way I have to say it, and first of all, let me just explain, I have Crohn's disease, and that Crohn's disease has put me into a lot of pain before. I have gender dysphoria, and gender dysphoria as well has put me in a lot of pain, and bipolar disease, which has thrown me for a lot of pain, as well as HS, which is physical pain as well. So it's like the Crohn's and the HS is physical, and the bipolar can be physical because of the mental. Same with the gender dysphoria, it becomes physical because of the mental as well. Um, so when people would say, out of a 1 to 10 pain scale, what is your pain? I may answer a 5 or a 6. That is someone else's 8 or a 9, maybe 10 or 11. So when I'm saying I'm at an 8, that is my level, but their level, I would expect, is a 10 or an 11, and they would have to use a lot of drugs. Like, I got Dilaudid in the hospital, but honestly, they gave me like 0.275 of each push, and that is not enough, and I knew it wasn't enough. So when my surgeon discharged me, he did say that the 10 milligram hydrocodone were going to be so much better because they stay in your system longer. And it takes a little bit longer to break down. Say it takes a little bit longer to get through your system, and just kind of hangs out a little bit longer. So that's good that we stayed on top of the pain medication with 600 ibuprofen, and then um, and then 2 or 3 hours later comes the hydrocodone. I've taken my Medrol dose pack, um, some not ibuprofen, but the other. I can't think of it right now. Not the ibuprofen, but egg. No, she's not listening to me. But it's something to make sure I don't get any kind of infection. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I just can't remember right now because my brain's all frazzled. I went outside for the first time today. It was beautiful and glorious. My pain level is not bad right now. I will probably lay down and ice my face after we get done because for the first 48 hours, I could not see. Yeah, 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 Kat. Thank you so much. That is how it's going to be. Yeah, we will definitely stay on top of the pain. Like I said, it's ibuprofen 600 and then hydrocodone 10 with 325 of the acetaminophen. And then, like a little bit, sometimes we throw in a 500 milligram acetaminophen in between those, just to keep the pain down. The pain last night was pretty significant. Not gonna lie, it was strong. Um, but I expected that. I expected the first 48 hours to be really bad. I couldn't see at all. Like my eyes were swollen shut completely. And that was the strangest feeling, the fact that I couldn't, if egg was not there, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. Hey, Brandon, thanks for showing up. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do anything without egg. And, big ups to her. She's been, doing it all from getting my jello, getting me soft, squishy foods, getting my fluids, making sure I'm taking my medicine on schedule, um, you know, waking up every couple of hours, around the clock, basically, to tend to me. So she's getting little sleep and she needs her sleep too. So right now she is asleep. Hey, Brandon. Um, right now she is asleep, just chilling on the couch. Um, as soon as I get off with here, then I'm gonna go out there and get some ice packs, strapped into my face to help the swelling go down a little bit more. Because this is really the first day that I've been able to see out of both of my eyes. This eye opened up before this eye, and so it was like playing kind of like a locator game. I would have to swivel around and move around, and then I was like, "Bam! I found you. Hey, crazy gay uncle, thanks for coming in, Spike. All right, crazy gay uncle Spike. Does that have anything to do with Buffy? Please just let me know that in the comments. Um, but yeah, so this is where we are right now, 72-ish hours outside of surgery. And that how, um, and that is, oh no, let's see. And that is, perfect. Amazing how symmetrical healing, asymmetrical healing can work. Yes, I know. I know. It's amazing. It's amazing what surgeons can do. It's amazing what surgeons who know their shit can do. I have quite a few friends who've had this type of surgery, really been butchered. Um, I know quite a few surgeons who are butchers, who and are butchers on people who are not celebrities or famous, but go all out and do their fleeky deaky bestest for celebrities, so on and so forth. I've seen them. I know who they are. Kat, I will send your love to Egg. She's number one. Um, Oh, great, gay Uncle Spike, it is Buffy. Yes, okay. William the bloody awful poet is what I use. What's up, Joe? Um, thank you so much, Kat. I have a feeling I really am not trying to toot my own horn, but I think my surgeon did a fucking great job. I really do. And as soon as I am like when I talk to them tomorrow, I'm gonna see if I can go ahead and drop their names because I feel so confident that I'm going to heal well. Um, they- Thank you. That's really nice. Yeah, I feel so confident. It's just They did an amazing. He did an amazing job. And one thing I've got to say though, and this goes to Wendy the Druid's point. If you know Wendy the Druid, me and Wendy know each other outside of Substack. Went to the same support group for a while. Um, Wendy went to a hospital around here where I went, and she was misgendered the whole time. The whole time. Um, so I went not expecting the same thing, but expecting it to happen a little bit. So they take me back there, ask me my name, ask me if I've had a period before, and I say, no, I'm a trans woman or a trans person, you know. And that's what I said. And they're like, okay. And then they all of a sudden started saying he. He. Every single person would say he. So even before surgery started and they wheeled me back into the surgical unit, I said, okay, everybody, let's stop before we get started. My name is this. I use she, they pronouns. Um, and please don't use he, him pronouns for me. I won't be damned if I heard them using he, him pronouns as I was drifting off to sleep. I just heard it. And then as I woke up, he, him, he, him. Now, I will say that my nurse, Brandy, did a great job at being respectful of my pronouns. Um, uh, yeah, that's right. All those welcoming signs are meaningless because the disrespect goes unchecked. And yeah, it does go unchecked. And there's nothing we can do as patients because we're there for their services and we need their help in that moment. So it was pretty rough and pretty disrespectful, but in the end I was like, you know what? I don't have to ever go back to that hospital if I don't want to. I can go to another hospital, and I won't have to talk to those set of people again. Um, the one thing I will have to talk to them about is getting the piece of my chin bone because yes, I can get it. It had to be sent to pathology to make sure everything was okay, and then I suppose we'll pick it up then after they've checked everything out. Uh, yeah, it sucks, but it happens to more trans women than just me, or more trans women than just Wendy the Druid. It just happens. And as mad as I get, or as mad as Wendy gets, as mad as any trans person gets at being misgendered, especially in medical facilities, there's hardly anything we can do about it. We can say, okay, we're going to go to another facility, but that doesn't really matter. It'll just happen again. And especially the thing about being trans in any medical facility is that we continually have to out ourselves, continually. Um, because once we tell them what medication we're taking, they have to ask why. If they ask us about our periods, we have to tell them the reason why we don't have periods or normal periods. Now, there are trans women who do have periods in the sense that they have cramping each time around a certain time of each month. That cramping is because the lining of the intestines is almost the same, I think, as the lining of the uterus. There's no bleeding, although I bleed. But that's because I have Crohn's disease. And if you know anybody who has Crohn's disease, I also have iron deficiency anemia, and that makes me bleed. Um, I don't bleed, yeah, but that's another story for another day. Yeah, we all need advocates, Kat. All trans people need, who are going into medical establishments need advocates. Yeah. Yes, the cramping is exactly the same, is the same feeling. It is. So, in terms of advocating, that's a hard thing to do. Um, we would like to have advocates. Wendy writes something called The Safety of a Queer Space. If you haven't read it on thistleandmoss.com, you really should get to that website and just start reading the Safety of a Queer Space fiction works. Um, and in that work, she has a either a nurse or a physician who actually takes on trans, gender non-confirming, non-binary type people, two-spirit people, uh, two-spirit, intersex people as well, and takes those people on, even though they are so tired. And the reason they're doing this is because they understand that trans people don't feel comfortable going to other doctors. And that's why a lot of trans people don't go to doctors, you know? The idea of being misgendered, just beaten down on, hammered over and over and over again for a trans woman or a non-binary femme-leaning person, calling them Mr. or Sir or dead name, you know, because your dead name may be in your records from, you know, years past. I've been with my doctors for like 10 years, 15 years, almost 20 years, some of them. And I hadn't transitioned back then. So they have my old name. Um, I've asked them to remove it, but you know, I'm sure they tried or pretended to try, and they just didn't. So, yeah, you know, I could talk all day about the horrors of being trans in a medical establishment. And there is a meme that goes around that says, a professor was teaching his medical students, and one of his medical students said, well, you know, what if I don't believe in this? And then that doctor said, well, you need to find a new career, you know, and that's the long and short of it. Okay, you're Cherokee. Yeah, yeah, two-spirited are revered and closer to divinity than the rest of us. Indeed. Indeed, 100%. Yes, I've heard that from um, many Native Americans, many native tribes, many natives um, in Africa as well, although, you know, Christianity has forced Christianity, colonization has allowed Christianity and to kind of take over in Africa, um, and also Islam to take over and, you know, kind of knock out that idea that non-binary people or um, trans people are less divine or less or a lesser part of the tribe. Whereas, you know, history has gone to show that back all the way back to Ishtar and probably further back, that trans people were considered divine. Trans people, two-spirit people were considered seers, and major contributors to the tribe. Um, that doesn't shock me, you know, I feel that way myself. So it'll happen. Like, you know, um I know that Trump is trying to shut everything down right now as far as trans. I think the latest thing is that trans people are not allowed to buy guns online anymore. I don't know if that's true or if it's when it's going to go into effect. Maybe by the 26th of December. I'm not sure. I've been hearing rumblings about this online. So if that's the case and you are a trans people, if you're a trans person who wants to buy a gun, then you need to go ahead and do that very soon, because what they're going to do is, in addition to going back through in addition to going back through um, your social security, they're going to go back through everything, any type of documentation they can find. No, not a joke at all. What they're trying to do is make sure trans people cannot buy guns. Um, so you've got there, if you want to buy a gun, there's the pink pistols, which is kind of based everywhere out through the United States. I know there are other gun clubs specifically made for trans and queer leaning people. Um, I don't buy guns myself. I have bipolar disorder, and a gun probably would not be the best thing for me to have. But I have knives and swords, and those will be used for protection. Now, of course, a knife and a sword cannot be used for protection when someone is shooting a pew pew at me. Um, yeah, Kat, we can talk offline about that idea. Definitely on back channel. Um, but yeah, so that's the state of the nation. You know, I'm glad that my surgical team worked so hard to get this surgery set up before the end of the year, because I have a feeling that they're trying to shut down all types of gender affirming surgery for everybody. And I think the first thing they're going to do is shut it down for military, Medicaid, Medicare, and then I think from there they're going to go to private insurance if they can. And the reason they can is because the private insurance companies are going to be jumping on it anyway, because they don't want to pay for it at all. It's taken years to get them to start paying for it, and now that they have another out, they'll just take it. Um, so yeah, right now I think I'm gonna have to go. I'm beginning to feel like I need some medicine and to lay back down and just put some ice on my face. I feel a little tight. My nose is getting a little froggy again. So I really do appreciate y'all coming on today. I'll be on again live soon. Like I always say, thank you, Kat. Oh no! Oh no! Okay, I'm back. I wanted to come back and say one thing, and that's peace and chicken grease. All right, y'all.